folks, welcome to 1.2c, the lesson. Today you can divide your paper up like this if you want. Go ahead and put your review problems up here. We only have 3 review problems today. Our pause problems, there's not too many pause problems. Pretty simple ticket to the show. We're going to have 3 guided problems and 16 through 28 even numbers only. So that's only about 6 or 7 problems as well. All right, so let's just go ahead and get started with the review for the 3 problems. Go ahead and take a maximum of 5 minutes on this. More likely about 3. All right, let's take a look and see how you did. 3 to the 5th, that's the product of the same factor. 3 is the base, 5 is the exponent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just checking my work. I hope you do too. That is 3 to the 5th. Write 33 times 33 times 33 times 33 as in exponential form. Well, that would be 33 to the 4th. There's 4 of them. And then solve this. A little order of operations problem. Sneaking that in. This is a little preview is what we'll be doing in a more complicated fashion. Well, order of operations says it's PEMDAS, right, or GEMDAS. We do the parentheses first, which we don't have any, and then we go to exponents, and here's the exponents. So this is 2 plus 3 times 4. PEMDAS says that we do multiplication before addition or subtraction, so we'll do this. 3 times 4 is 12. We have 2 plus 12, which is 14. Now I realize that you may have skipped some steps on that, but in math in 6th grade at Valley Middle School, we don't. So our next lesson, which is 1.4a, we'll be doing, you will be doing step by step, but this would be called a 4-step problem. 1, 2, 3, a 4-line problem. It's 3 steps, 4 lines, because we count that original one. So, all right, let's get rolling today. You will be watching the video now, and then I'll be back with you for your lesson later. Thanks. Hey Valley Middle, welcome to another math video. Today we're going to be evaluating exponents. Before we do that, let's go ahead and start with our trivia question of the day. Who was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? I think you'd all recognize his name, and I think you'll recognize the picture of him as a young guy too. We'll get back to you with the answer to that after our instruction. Tonight officially our target is I can evaluate expressions with exponents. Let's start off with looking at some vocabulary, and most of this is review. Do you remember that this is called down here the big number? Yes, that is correct. That's the base. And up here, the smaller number raised above it, yeah, that's the exponent. Today another word we're going to add to it is expression. Expression is some sort of a combination of numbers and symbols that are grouped together that show the value of something. And there are no equal signs. This would be, your simplest, it could be something like x plus 1. It could be 2x plus 1. I could change that. I could even throw in an exponent in there, 2x squared plus 1. These are all different expressions. Let me just throw a little squared in there so I keep up with my typing and my talking. 2x squared plus 1. These are all different types of expressions. Notice there's no equal sign there. All right, so we also have to understand what the word evaluate means. Evaluate means to solve or to determine the value of something. So tonight we're going to be evaluating expressions that have exponents. Some of those are going to have a variable involved in them. Most of them are not. Let's take a look at a couple simple ones to start with. We have this simple expression, 2 to the 4th power. Go ahead and see if you can figure out what it is. You don't need to write it down. Just try to do it in your head or use a calculator. All right. Well, 2 to the 4th is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. I get confused when there's all those 2's involved, sometimes entering them into my calculator. And so in this case, sometimes I just break this down to these 2 2's are a 4, and these 2's are a 4, and I can do 4 times 4. I kind of work on a pyramid up. That helps me, especially when you've got like 9 8's or something like that. It's so much easier if you break it down. I will show you in your lesson portion of the day how to use the exponent key in your calculator, but I'm not going to go into that here because most people just need a standard calculator. A 4-function calculator is all you really need. All right, let's take a look at another example, and then I'll have you try a couple. 3 to the 4th, go ahead and evaluate that expression. All right, let's see how you did. Well, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 equals 81, or 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 9 is 81. Break it down like that too. All right, for your pause problems tonight, I'm going to have you try this grouping of 3 here. So in the pause problem section of your video work in your notebook, go ahead and do these 3. Just write this and then write what it equals. All right, let's see how you did. Well, 9 squared is 81. It's just 9 times 9. 10 to the 4th is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. You'll notice that the exponent told you how many zeros there would be in that, 10,000. Okay, and 5 to the 3rd, 5 times 5 times 5. Well, 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5, again, is 125. So maybe you didn't even need to use a calculator to do those two. All right, ready for the ticket to the show? Oh, there's a yeah, but there's always a yeah, but this is actually your first yeah, but of the year. Yeah, buts are things like you think you've got things figured out and all of a sudden they throw something at you and you're like, yeah, but what do you do when you have these situations? So I just call them yeah, buts. Now you actually do have the exponents with some expression. And this is not that big of a deal. You have 2 squared plus 1. Well, what's 2 squared? 2 squared is 4 plus 1 is 5. How about this? You have 3 squared. I think it's like it got shifted just a little bit. 3 squared plus x, and x is 4. Well, think about that. 3 squared is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Add the 4, you're 13. So we're evaluating these expressions. Nice, nice. Okay, this is the hardest one. Give it a shot. 2h squared, and h is equal to 6. You have to apply the order of operations in this case here. So 2 times 6 squared. In this case, you have to do the exponent first. 6 squared is 36. So you have 2 times 36, 72. All righty? Okay. Great. Let's take a look at your tickets to the show. Just 2 problems today. 6 to the 3rd and 8 to the 3rd. Evaluate those expressions, and then I'll give you your answer to the trivia question. All right. Very good. Now, these should be put down in the ticket to the show portion of your worksheet. Remember, I always like you to draw a line after the pause problems and put the ticket to the show problems. It helps me focus my vision or my work when I'm looking at 165 tickets. So, all right. Who was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Well, it was Will Smith. Here's what he looked like then. This show was on in the 1990s for 6 years, from 1990 to 1996. You might recognize him from movies like Hitch, I Am Legend. He's been in lots of stuff. He is amazing. Also a pretty talented musician as well. All right, thanks for listening. Have a great day. Hey folks, let's take a look at your lesson for today, 1.2c. By now you've completed the video and the pause problems, and it's time to put that into practice a little more independently and then get you ready for a quiz. So, quick review, evaluating expressions. The word expressions means that's any type of combination of numbers and symbols. There's no equal sign. That would be an equation if it had an equal sign, but combination of numbers and symbols that have some sort of value. Evaluate just simply means to solve. So here's some expressions, some simple exponent expressions. Why don't you go ahead and evaluate these? Let's see how you do. 7 squared, what are you thinking? Yeah, 7 times 7, that would be 49. How about 4 to the 3rd? Well, be 4 times 4 times 4. And you can use a calculator on these if you want, but most people could probably do that in their head and get to 64. 5 to the 1st, you don't see it written like that, but I'd like you to think about it this way. Think about it as 5, instead of just 5, think about it as 1 times 5. I think that'll help you when we get into a little more complicated expressions involving numbers to the 0 power and to the negative exponent. That'll help a little bit. 2 to the 6th, this is where it gets a little hairy. Yes, you can enter them all into your calculator like that. When I'm asked to show my work, you're going to have to type this out to show your work steps. Write down what you're putting in the calculator. So in this case here, I like to break it down into 2 times 2 is 4. These 2 times 2 is 4. These 2 times 2 is 4. So therefore I can see that that is 64 as well, because I have 4 times 4 here, which is 16 times 4, which is a problem from up above there, being 64. All right. Let's take a look at just 3 guided problems here, and let's use the calculator. Not every calculator is going to work this way, but this is the most common calculator that kids have that are scientific. I personally just use the old school calculator, and for function, that's all I ever use. But if you have one of these fancier calculators and you want to evaluate these, you can use, the shift key, they call this here. So you would take, if you want 3 to the 5th, you'd type in 3 here, and then you're going to press the shift key, and then you're going to put in the exponent, which is 5, and then you'll hit the equal sign. It'll work. So if you have one of them, you can try it like that. Go ahead and try 2 to the 5th that way. If you don't have that kind of a calculator, you can just do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Notice how I counted them out in my fingers. That's why I just tend to write them out. That's the way I show my work. All right, you should have had 32 on that one. How about 5 to the 4th? A little bit easier. Basically, you're going to get that down to 25 times 25, right? Because 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 5 is 25. You multiply the 25 times the 25 together. Should hit 625. So, and how about 25 to the 4th? A little harder. All right. 390,625. I think you've got this target. Really simple. I think I'm going to have you do some problems here. We'll have you do the even numbered problems and put these down in the bottom right hand side. You put your guided in the left hand, put these in the right hand side. You only have to do 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, and 28. I did it that way so you get a little bit of everything, and you'll see exactly what I put in these blue boxes. This is what you should put down for your work. If you were doing the odd problems, you'd write 17, 1 to the 11th equals 1. Because it's just 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. A lot of people think that's 11, but it's just 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. 1 to the 100th is still 1, right? Okay. This is what you would write down, for 21. So this is what I expect your work steps to look like on that. These here are kind of fun. Down here, you have to determine whether for 26, if this is true, is this truly less than 172, 17 squared? And then these ones here, you have to order them. So go ahead and do that, and then I'll pause it and let you work on that, and then I'll give you the answers. Alrighty then. You were just doing the even ones. Let me just grab a highlighter here so I can highlight those. So 16 would have been 64. You notice how I keep doing the 64 thing, because 4 to the 3rd is really a popular question, so I'm trying to stress that. 2 to the 5th, that's 32. You had 20, which was 9 to the 3rd. That'd be 729. You had 22, 5 to the 4th power, which is 625. You had 24, 0 to the 6th power. 0 to the 6th power. Well, that's still going to be 0, right? Okay. How about this one? Use a calculator to determine whether each sentence is true or false. Is 17 less than 172? That is false. 17 squared, let me just pop it in real quick here. Grab the old calculator for you in case you didn't figure out how to do that one. 17 squared is just 17 times 17, which is equal to 289. So no, it's not less than 172. It's greater than 172. All right, let's see if I still have my highlighter here. And then 28, 2 to the 5th is the smallest. Then 7 to the 2nd, 3 to the 4th, and 5 to the 3rd from least to greatest. This is 125. 2 to the 5th, I believe, is 32. You are ready for the quiz. So good luck. See you for the next lesson.